Hello, everyone. This is Steve from A Better Life. This podcast is brought to you by our sponsors, Premium Botanical. They are the makers of Herbal Spectrum, which is a full spectrum hemp-based CBD. They make salves, liquids, and they have a great mixed berry gummy. You can check them out at www.mypbcbd.com. Now our podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to A Better Life with George and Steve.
Hello, guys. Welcome back.
It's been a little bit, and it's been another week has gone by. The world has changed probably 5 times over.
Time does fly. It is. It has gone by pretty quick for me as well.
I was just realizing when I looked at the calendar today that the clocks go back to normal, as I consider normal, on like March 3rd or 4th, which is less than a month now already.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
And it is. I can't keep up. Is this the last time they're going to do it, or wasn't that? Didn't they say last year or 2 years ago that all right, they're going to change it and that's it?
I don't know. That group can't agree on anything, can they? Let's be honest. I mean, they
Just go with the flow.
I think that fell through. I think they couldn't agree on.
I could care less. Okay, so we have to fall back, jump forward, or leap forward, whatever. Okay.
I like it a little lighter in the afternoon, but I must say, in the dead of winter, there's something horrible about getting up and getting in the car, and it's pitch
dark,
black,
right.
and it's freezing, and if it's snowing, it's even worse. I remember when I was a kid when they changed it to save energy for whatever. I don't know how that works, that they saved energy. You're still light the same amount of hours, and you're still dark the same amount of hours. But I remember getting up pitch black, standing at the bus stop. You felt foolish. But that was a long time ago. It's a few days before the Super Bowl. That's certainly...
Let me guess. Who's playing? I think the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's one.
Versus, I want to go and say... 49ers?
San Francisco 49ers.
Really? I got it?
You got it.
Okay.
You act like you knew exactly
No,
what
I
it was.
actually had to guess the second one. I had a feeling Mahomes was going to clinch the championship, divisional championship this year, but I had no idea on the other side.
I think there's nothing better than a Super Bowl party.
Those are pretty fun. Even if you don't watch football, you have no idea what that is. A Super Bowl party gathering, guaranteed a lot of food.
Right.
Everyone's pretty happy, pretty excited and amped up. And it's 3 hours of gladiator TV, right?
Absolutely. The only problem is it doesn't go on till 6:30. So people get together at 2:00. They're either drunk by the time the game starts, or they've eaten so much they no longer care.
Unless you're in a pool or in one of those boxes. You bought a box.
Right.
Yeah, the food, you got wings, pizza, subs, anything that you can share. A lot of potlucks are happening. A lot of beverages will be imbibed.
A lot of beer.
Yeah.
I
wonder how, statistically or sales-wise, beer sales for Super Bowl versus World Series versus Stanley Cup. These just interesting facts, probably.
Bud Light's has a whole campaign.
Oh, they gotta get back.
They got to get back after what happened to them last year. They're going back to old school with the funny commercials.
Right.
And I think some of the famous quarterbacks are in the commercials.
Sure.
Peyton Manning is in it. Post Malone is in it because he's been doing Bud Light commercials too.
I see.
So the two of them are in it, and it's like old school, bringing it back, and they bring it like an old guy, like a young, cool guy is like a genie and can grant wishes.
Halftime show. What is it? Who's performing? Usher.
Usher.
Huh?
They don't get paid, but supposedly record sales go through the roof after you do this, and NFL pays the expenses, and those range between $16 and $18 million.
Expenses.
Prepare the lighting, the show, the sound, the stage.
Yeah, it's their production.
Absolutely.
So they're benefiting the most.
And I was reading somewhere that the record sales surge and I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was, I think it was Lady Gaga. After she performed, the week after the Super Bowl, her record sales increased 1,000%.
And she's no slouch.
That's right.
1,000%?
1,000%.
So that's 10x.
And an $18 million show she got on a swing. I don't remember it, to be honest, at all, which is unusual because I usually watch them all.
That's insane.
And Usher's been pretty much MIA. You never hear about him. You would almost say it's a comeback.
A resurgence. Like he needs the money. But okay, it's an honor. I'll take it at that value.
I'm not quite sure any of them really needs the money.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Super Bowl. So, actually, I want to talk about that Netflix series Quarterback. Got me.
I watched a little bit of it.
I think I binged maybe like a week ago of that series, and I think it's like 10 episodes. They follow 3 quarterbacks, Mahomes, Cousins, and Mariota. And it was quite insightful. Like, I'm not a sport nut, so I don't follow. I don't wake up and turn on ESPN, or I don't listen to the fan in the morning while driving. So
unlike me, who watches Get Up on ESPN every morning at 8:00.
No kidding.
And I record it just in case I have to do something, work or something. So when I finally go to take a shower or whatever it is, that I could play it while I watch it and watch the rest at work in between, whatever.
All right. So you enjoy the updates, you enjoy the stats, you enjoy all the news of injuries and...
Yeah, listen, I like the news. I like the who's going where. I like the football part of it's my favorite. I also like basketball. Baseball's become a little mundane, if you ask me. And they did it to themselves. I don't know what to say, but they did. I do like to watch it. Here's my problem with baseball. and it's the same problem with all the other sports, but I think baseball was the last holdout. And that was they built these mega stadiums, and now it costs a fortune to go to a game. And you know what?
All sports.
All sports.
Right.
But baseball was the last holdout.
Right.
You could go there and get a ticket for $15, $20, $25. Now you can't get a ticket for $50. You can't get a ticket for $100.
You can't get a hot dog for $15.
Can't get a hot dog for $15. Can't get a Coca-Cola for $15. Right. All right? So how do you expect to promote the game if only old people with money are watching it? Right? Because the kids can't watch it. The kids are watching soccer. Kids are playing soccer. You are seeing kids play sports you never heard of before. Kids are playing lacrosse. When I went to school, you think who was on the lacrosse team? There was no lacrosse team. We picked on the kids that played soccer. What are you kidding? Lacrosse? Well, I couldn't put it on them because they had bats in their hand.
But yeah, America, known as apple pie and baseball, right?
That's gone out the window.
Done.
Yeah. The sport still makes millions of dollars, and
the owners come out victorious in all sports.
I was thinking that one of the big complaints was that one of the games this year, one of the playoff games, was on a streaming service, Peacock. Now I own Peacock, so I didn't really care, or I subscribe, I should say, to Peacock.
I don't care what anyone says. There was massive collusion. There's no way that this is coming out mathematically sound, right?
It's interesting because I think they paid something like $110 million to show the game. Mm-hmm. So there's 32 teams. That means every owner made over $3 million a piece.
Just for that deal.
Just for that game. $3 million. Now, when you're a guy like Jerry Jones, who bought his team, I think in 1990 for $150 million, and it's now worth $6 billion. Tell me where on the open market you get an investment like that. $6 billion. So $150 million. So I realize it's 30 years, but $150 million into $6 billion. Think about it. When you bought your house for in 1990, what is it worth in 2023? It's the only reason it's worth more is because the dollar's devalued. But anyway, the owners are greedy and they're grabbing with both hands. And that's why they tolerate all this crap. They tolerate people telling them what to do. They tolerate...
Literally laughing to the bank.
And laughing all the way to the bank. Exactly. laughing all the way. Just $3 million they made on one
Broadcast.
Huh. And I heard an interview with the owner, CEO of the Chiefs. The Hunt family have been a major supporter and player in the NFL, and before that, the AFL for decades. Lamar Hunt, I guess that's his name, was one of the founders of football. His team was originally in Texas, and they opened up at the same, and I think his cousin or his brother or his best friend had owned the Dallas Cowboys. And they both started teams together in California, in Texas. And Hunt ended up in the Chiefs ended up in the AFL. And then when they merged, everybody became rich. The AFL and the NFL merged, and it just became the American Conference and the National Conference and the National Football League. And he was saying that in his interview that streaming sports is the way of the future, that soon all sports will be streaming, that cable companies are going the way of the dodo is basically what he said.
Wow.
Why should you have them? More and more people are switching. Now, I don't have cable. Matter of fact, guy came to my door today. I thought it was you, George, on your way here. I opened a door. It was a guy from Verizon trying to sell me Verizon. I said, I have Verizon. And he was saying to me that the cable service, internet is slow. Now, I already know that. They've been upgrading the system around here. And I have a gig. I'm trying to upgrade it to 2 gig for whatever reason. But that's what I'm trying to do. And I should have mentioned that to him. But I didn't. But Optimum, who is the cable carrier, they don't have optical network. They still have old school cables. And those aren't able, though they may be able to do download high speeds, they can't do upload high speeds. At the end of the day, the cable companies are phasing themselves out. Everything's going to be over the internet. Everything. All sports. And I have to say one other thing that perplexes me. How is it that now we have all these headsets where you could see virtual reality, everything, that there isn't some kind of virtual reality camera sitting on the basketball court at the courtside that's videotaping or that's broadcasting the game to everybody with these virtual helmets on. And then they could watch the game as they were watching it on courtside. Just imagine that. What do you think the value would be that? Those maniacs that follow teams till the end of the earth, they would do anything to get a virtual look, to be able to sit courtside virtually in their living room. I don't know how that doesn't exist yet. Certainly the technology's there. Can't be that nobody thought about it. Because all I do is say it to everyone I meet.
Yeah, there's got to be some bean counter out there giving you the pros and cons of each scenario and how much they can milk the ticket.
That's right.
Oh, well. It's really not for us, right? It's not in our best interest.
I don't know what's in our best. Do you know what's in our best interest anymore?
Just give me 3 square meals a day, a warm bed, roof over my head.
I'm with you. And a few dozen phonographs, and I'm good.
Yeah. Speaking of, quite an impressive collection. Every time I step in here, I notice there's more, and don't deny it, there's more.
This time there's much more from last week, so there are 3 or 4 more. But I have an extra bedroom that had all the stuff my ex-wife threw out on the front lawn when I left, and it just sat in there and sat in there. I finally cleaned it all out and cleaned out the room and moved my phonographs that were all over my apartment are now in that back room.
Now they're nicely lined up around the perimeter. And I'm still waiting for you to name each one.
I go in there, I sit, I take actually the chair I'm sitting on and I put it in there and I just sit in the middle and I just sit there. Today, I literally went around the room early this morning and played probably about 5 different ones and posted it on Facebook.
Okay.
And said, this is this one, this is that one.
You love it. That's all that counts.
I try to play everything only because it's like an airplane. You got to fly it or else you got to maintain it. The real interesting thing is that I was able to get what's called a replica of Edison's tinfoil phonograph, the very first one, built in 1877. But this replica has brought much debate from the experts who collect phonographs on exactly what it is, but it is pretty sure that it was built by one of Edison's engineers from the original blueprints of the original one, and it is the exact same one that happens to be in the Smithsonian, because the original is in Edison's lab. It is one that had been taken all over the world for demonstrations. It was owned by one of the foremost collectors who recently passed away of all Edison phonographs, as well as the tinfoil phonographs. And I was lucky to buy it out of an estate. The person who was the administrator of the estate was looking for somebody that was going to love it, that was going to collect it and not sell it and not auction it. And I happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I bought it.
Life is all about being in the right place at the right time.
So far, I've been offered 5 times what I paid for it already, and I only picked it up on Saturday,
That's
and
incredible.
today is Wednesday.
Incredible.
I know. But anyway, to more important things.
That's some good news.
It
Happy
is.
for you.
It is. It's a beautiful beast. It certainly adds an element to the collection that I never thought would ever be. And the person who originally owned by Edison, but the person the collector that originally owned it.
Think about what you just said.
I know.
Wow.
Everything in that room, half those things in that room were built in Edison's workshop under Edison's supervision. Between the years of 1878 and 1910, I want to say, in that room. And then there are a couple, and then the rest are built in the Victor shop between 1905 in Camden, New Jersey.
Wow.
Between 1905 and maybe 1920.
Huh. So much history.
It's really just amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And the quality, and imagine that and nothing's electric. Everything's crank.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy anything that was electric, even though they made them as time went on. And when you crank it up and you feel it, and you put that cylinder or that disc on there and you drop it on the needle, and you basically walk back in time.
Surreal.
Yeah, I was playing a song called We're All Americans Now. It was a song that Irving Berlin had written when the Americans joined World War I. It's amazing what kind of response a song like that gets. But especially when you post it on Facebook or something like that. But it's that kind of history. That's all lives through. You could tell by the songs, it was just such a different world. Everything was simplistic.
It's a comparison to what we're going through today.
It still was life and death in a lot of places, but it was simplistic. Interesting.
Simplistic. That's the polar opposite of life in the city. I started a new gig last week, and I'm in the city a few days a week. I get into Grand Central, and the city is just this wild cement jungle, as they call it. I was body checked twice on the way to the office. It was like, are you kidding me?
Body check.
Yeah, like I twirled like 180 to the left, and then I got hit on the other shoulder 2 blocks down the road. I spoke to my boss, and we had this little chuckle. It's not so funny, but we can laugh in hindsight. But he also experienced something even more greater. During the pandemic, this whole Asian hate thing was documented, and he experienced it firsthand. He witnessed a gentleman who probably was under the influence of some kind of narcotic swinging a metal pipe and threatening someone at the corner of an intersection. And immediately you have this feeling, oh, I got to walk around or try to just avoid. He walked around, but unfortunately, his eyes connected with the assailant, and he just got targeted. And the man with the pipe came towards him and swung again, missed. And my boss said, hey, not looking for any trouble. Just, I'm going to walk away. And then, boom, gets hit in the ribs. And repeated again, did not want to escalate the situation with a calm voice, hands up in the air. listen, nothing happened. I'm just going my way. You go your way. Boom, gets hit again. Gets hit twice. And then a couple more attempts with the pipe being swung. And whether the assailant got tired or maybe lost concentration, but turned around and started walking away. And meanwhile, my boss is in shock. Like, what just happened, right? We're in modern day New York City. He's in a suit and just got victimized.
And needless to say, he's Japanese.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with Chinese, other than they're from the same part of the world.
But
and those two countries pretty much hate each other, which is even more ironic, right?
I am of a Taiwanese descent, and I don't really understand anything about this whole Asian hate thing. I didn't really pay too much attention or read too much into it, but I was definitely aware that this was happening. The thing was, my boss, all of a sudden it clicked and was like, wait a minute. Like, I just got, attacked. So he decides to call 911 thinking, oh, what are the chances anything's going to happen in today's climate, right? With law enforcement. But he'd said, kudos to NYPD. I was on the phone. I described the assailant. I described where I was. And I said, until this guy is cuffed and arrested, I'm going to follow from a safe distance and I need some kind of resolution. And to the police department's credit, in 3 minutes, there were cops on site. The man was stopped and arrested and put in a squad car. Further follow up, whether it was unofficial or official, but they said the fact is the assailant looks like he's under the influence. Our protocol is we have to take him to the hospital, and from there, most likely will be released. So you do one thing, but the follow up or the finish measures are not there, and it's a shame that our legal system has so many loopholes, I guess that's what we can call them, for these scenarios. And I think police officers are doing their very best to have order, but these laws, man, what a shame that there are these really loopholes that are these laws that are meant for good, but unfortunately things just don't turn out the right way.
Yeah, things have changed. There's no question about it. It's different than it's ever been before. There's nothing really to do about it. The
society's tough in a way. It's not a calming society that I think I remember back in the 80s. I think everything was just the fact that as a kid, you could bike to your friend's place, leave it on the front lawn, go play in the backyard, and then ride your bike back and make it home for dinner. No one had cell phones. No one really called to check in, but you just had this standard protocol, right? And society appreciated that. You can't do that now.
We wandered around. I grew up in a small town in New Jersey. We wandered around aimlessly from the moment we got up in the morning until we had to come home, maybe dinner. And my mom yelled out the door, and hopefully I heard her. And
yeah, I don't know. As a 45-year-old man now, I don't need to be body checked on 46th Street in Madison. Come on. Of all things, too.
But it isn't like it's ruffians. It's regular people, too. I remember after 9/11, I lived in New Jersey, and I don't think I told this story before, and I was on my way to downtown Manhattan where my office was, and you had to change trains 3 times to be able to get there. And it was snowing, and it was slippery, and you would go from the PATH train to the subway, and it was like a herd of people. You could have lifted your feet up and just be carried along with the crowd because everyone was running and trying to make it. And one day I slipped and fell, and people literally just climbed over me.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, a couple of people stepped right on me and went over me. And I remember looking up at a woman. She was finely dressed and saying to myself, "Are you kidding me? Did you just step on me?" So whatever, I finally parted the herd and was able to get back to my feet. And I had snow and I was dirty and whatever. But I had to go try a case at the National Labor Relations Board. So I really had a rush because it was on for 9:30 or 9 o'clock. So I get over there. I just get right over there. It was in Federal Plaza, and my office was across the street, but I couldn't go there yet because I had to be here. And I get into the courthouse. I get into the hearing room, and the administrative law judge was the lady that stepped on me.
Huh.
I needless to say, I won my case that day. But I looked at her. She looked at me. She recalled what happened. And I didn't say a word, but I wanted to, boy. You imagine? Here's a woman just stepped right on me. I don't remember if it was an administrative law judge or if it was one of the agents for the National Labor Relations Board, but she stepped right on me. And that just goes to show you, it's not ruffians when they're commuting. It's everybody, every man, woman, and child for themselves. Like you get on the subway sometimes. You can get on the 4 for the express. There's a 4 and the 6 that goes downtown from Grand Central, right? So the 4 at rush hour is just hordes of people pushing in. Where you could go take the 6 in the summer, the air conditioner's working, it's not crowded. It just takes an extra 15 minutes. So if you allow yourself your time, you could travel downtown like a gentleman. But nobody does.
Those words, right, gentleman and a lady, it's yesteryears gone. Sad. I don't know.
So true.
I try to teach my kids a little bit about civility and being a lady and being a gentleman, and it's hard. Ultimately, you lead by example. So I do my best, but I am lacking in so many aspects that I just have to try my best, lead by example.
Yeah, with kids, you can only do the best you can. There are things that come up that you just can't help yourself. What to do, what not to do.
Speaking of the city, there's just so much foot traffic now. So I think everything's back. We're actually office hunting right now, and there's just so many options, and it's shown by so many different types of people. You have the old school. These guys have not adapted to modern society, technology. Just they're dinosaurs of the industry, and you have a representative representing the place. You have a broker. You have so many levels of people you need to communicate in order to lease out a single studio. And then you have these amazing modern office suites like the WeWorks of the world, the Regis of the world. WeWorks is going bankrupt. It's incredible. But you have all these real estate companies that own really beautiful places that they furnish for small offices and communal spaces and things like that. And it's just this full spectrum that you get to see in New York City. And some of these places are just gorgeous.
True.
So hopefully we land in a nice place, and little by little, this startup company that I'm part of will flourish.
I really believe it's the right time. It's the right time for business again.
I know. People winding up and kickstarting something, it's great. I think there's a lot of energy and a lot of spirit motivating a lot of people to do the same.
I think people that say that, oh, it's not that time again or whatever. I think the world's changed, and you have to recognize that change. And those changes produce opportunities.
Agreed.
And I think that's where the world is right now. I think there's always opportunities. I think there's always companies that flourish.
Right.
I think they have to just realize.
Those who realize.
And Me Too companies aren't going to flourish, just following the herd kind of thing. But my office is similar. It's inside a group of a whole bunch of other small business people. And I'm lucky that I have we have a strong support staff that run it. And they're basically at my whim and need at any time. I need somebody for a day to do something. They produce a person for me. They answer my phones. They do all the things necessary.
That's awesome.
And
ultimately, business is you're offering a service or a good, right? So if you can really just stick to that, you're onto something, and just do it the best of your ability. Excellence.
I agree. My headphones are bothering me today. I don't know why. Out of the clear blue sky, they never bother me. Yeah, and having said that, I think the weather's going to for some reason, I always think in February, the weather's going to start warming up for no reason whatsoever. And I realize we're in the middle of winter still.
It went the other way. This week was very chilly.
And I really believe that the weather's going to start improving. I really believe it's going to start getting warm this early.
Maybe in 2 weeks.
Maybe.
I see it. 20, 25 degrees. Yeah, it's cold, but is it the worst? A month ago, we were waking up at 12 degrees.
It was cold.
That was cold. And I walk to the station in the morning. I have a good 18, 20-minute walk. So by the time I get to the station, my face is about to crack. And I laugh at myself.
I guess that's better than parking. I don't know what the parking situation is.
You can't, right? Any suburb, you're waiting for a 3-year wait list for a parking spot. What can I do? I get my steps in. And now I know I'm old. When I'm looking at my iPhone and I'm calculating, hey, how many steps did I get in today? And you know what? It's good, right? It's a lifestyle change. Even before I get to the office, by the time I get to my office in the morning, I've already cleared maybe 5,000-6,000 steps, which is more than my average I did last year. I just took a look before we had dinner today, and I already cleared 16,000 steps. And that's today. By the time I go to bed tonight, I'll probably have 18,000, and that's good.
Welcome to working in Manhattan.
Yeah. Comfortable shoes is a must. It's a must.
It gets back to, did you ever watch Cheers? There was a whole episode towards the end on comfortable shoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The great leaders of the wall had world all had comfortable shoes.
Yeah, shoes. I enjoy a nice pair of shoes. It's become I don't know, somewhat of a thing. I don't mind spending some money on shoes.
You need them. And you got to wear them and you want to be comfortable. When I started working in the city, I started wearing rubber bottom shoes.
Yeah.
Because the thin leather ones, I used to eat them just eat them up. I wear Allen Edmonds mostly.
Okay.
Because I have an interesting width foot. And Allen Edmonds are the best to me. And I have some now. And I have the ones on television now, the ones that they look like the top is a regular shoe and the bottom is like a sneaker with a white rubber thing on it. And they're awesome. Once you start wearing them, you never go back to wearing a regular dress shoe. It's just the way it is. I just threw a whole bunch out. I have 1 pair, 2 pairs maybe. But that's the way it is. I know we said we were going to have a special guest, but I was preoccupied this week.
You were running around left and right.
Yeah, my girlfriend got COVID, and I was trying to get her to the doctor without getting infected and I didn't really see her. I'd be like outside the house, and it was a whole thing. She had no food, and who was going to pick up the drugs? It went on and on. And she's still not that great. And she just tested positive on Monday, so today's Wednesday. But she was sick on Saturday when I left her, but not like she is now. And you have to be careful. You can't get it because I'm a 9/11 victim and I have all that stuff and I don't want to. I have asthma.
It would be complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get sick, so you get they have you scared to a point. And then she has all the vaccinations.
Yeah.
She's healthy as a horse. And she's sick as hell. She has trouble breathing. She is whatever. I got her a vaporizer and she's on prednisone and all those things.
Wow.
And there's so many people that are sick. And you want to hear the best? She has an appointment with her doctor. For some reason, she decides to take a temporary test or at-home test. So she takes it, comes up positive. She calls the doctor's office and said, just want to let you know, I just tested positive. They said, forget it. We're canceling your appointment. You're not coming in. We don't want you here. I never heard of such a thing.
I have no idea what a medical protocol is, but that sounds wrong.
Were they only want healthy people there? Right. I don't understand.
Right.
When I had COVID last time, I am allergic to the Provaxid or whatever the name of the drug is. So they gave me the intravenous antibodies. They sent me over to the hospital. Everyone acted like I didn't have COVID. I had a mask on. No one said anything. No one said stand back. Mm-hmm. No one said the guy parked my car. Everybody did everything. And I'm saying to myself, well, what's going on? What is the real protocol? And nobody even knows. They changed it again. It went on the CDC site, and it says 10 days, if you're severe, 10 days, maybe 20 days.
Right.
It was 5 days, 10 days. They changed everything because I guess it's political how they decide what these days are going to pay. So they moved it back to what was probably necessary from the beginning. I don't know what to say, but I feel bad for her.
Yeah. It's never a good thing when you're bedridden and you're just sick, like really sick, and you don't know what to do. But she'll get better. She's fighting through it.
Yeah. I buy her food, I drop it off. What are you going to do?
Why can't a doctor say, oh, if you eat more steaks, you're more prone to withstand or ward off.
You made a great steak tonight, so maybe I will stay.
Or superhuman for a few hours. Steak it's always a crowd pleaser, right? And whenever I make steaks for my kids, they wolf it down. Like,
I know you laughed at me, but I went to Outback with Samantha. The other day.
Okay.
I said, let's go to Outback.
That's an amazing value.
And I had the King Cut prime rib.
Okay.
Oh, God, it was awesome.
Was it awesome?
First of all, the baked potato, the skin's all crispy.
Did you have the blooming onion?
I didn't have the blooming onion because I knew we got the blooming shrimp.
Okay.
And they were a little salty. I didn't really care for them. But the prime rib was awesome. I got horseradish, and then it's the best deal in the world. The prime rib, I don't forget how much it was, but it wasn't that very expensive. The whole bill was less than $100, and we both had, good food.
I mean, their commercials were the best. They had this huge giant steak with a piece of parsley on it, and they called it salad. That was that I will never forget that.
That was a good commercial.
Oh man!
And the waiter was amazingly good. Just good.
Where's an Outback near here? Oh,
it wasn't. It was in New Jersey, right across the street from Steve's Sizzling Steaks. No. So I'm trying to tell her, maybe we should go to Steve's Sizzling Steaks.
Whoa.
And she's, what is that? I don't know what that is. And it went on, and I was like, okay, let's just go to Outback.
Okay.
Certainly Outback was cheaper, and the prime rib was...
All right.
I don't know if
its job.
Yeah, it did its job.
Yeah.
They had a special of, I think it was 28-ounce ribeye, too, but...
28 ounce? That's got to be
like
bone
that.
in. I mean...
It was bone in.
Okay. So you take 6
Maybe
ounces
it was 25 ounce. I don't know.
All right.
But it was huge, and I didn't get that. I like prime rib because you can't get it all the time.
Yeah.
Because you got to make a whole big thing.
Right.
But Outback, I can't believe I'm saying this again.
We're plugging Outback.
Outback has it every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, I'm
so
gonna
maybe
take my
not
son
Sunday.
there.
You go there, you're going to be surprised at the prime rib.
No kidding.
The King Cut was huge, and I had those guys laughing. I won't tell you what I said to them because it's embarrassing. It was good. The waiters were great. It was really good. It didn't cost much. It's a good meal, a good place to. You see people there with their whole families.
That's what I love seeing that. I love seeing, and you know what? Food is so expensive today. But when you can take your kids out and just have a great meal, and you don't have to worry too much about being so posh and manners are important, yes, but you can let loose a little bit. And a place like Outback, man, did you have any dessert?
We took it was a peanut butter and chocolate, with these weird cookies on the top that were awesome. We took it home.
Yeah, it was probably super sweet, like any American chain restaurant.
It was. We split it.
But it's okay.
Yeah,
I mean, you do it once in a while, and you're just living, right?
And a cup of coffee,
it was enjoying life.
Yeah. We binge watching right at the end of Mr. Robot until she got sick. You know how I feel about Mr. Robot. I was happy I would have done anything just to watch 3 more episodes.
I binged on Brother's Son on Netflix, and my girlfriend's now on Grisella. She says it's awesome.
That's what everyone says.
I don't know if it's like a chick flick or something, but she loves it, and yeah, that's great.
She's a soccer fan. She's a big Messi fan.
Okay.
And I said, did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
Oh.
She said, what's that?
Oh my goodness.
So we started on Ted Lasso, and she laughs a lot.
Messi's in Japan right now. Actually, that was funny. My girlfriend just mentioned that earlier today in a text. Messi and his team are playing some Japanese team exhibition match in Tokyo.
And I have the Apple TV Plus soccer mainly because I wanted to watch Messi. I've become addicted, just like everybody else. I have a pink shirt.
Wow.
It says Messi on the back.
Oh, my God.
And I don't even like soccer, but I do like watching him because he's really an amazing talent.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like he's playing a different game than everybody else. And I know there's always been those kind of, and I remember Pele, and I remember some great players.
No, Messi, undoubtedly, right? One of the greatest, if not the greatest.
Ronaldo, supposedly the same thing, and Beckham, and I never saw Beckham play. But Beckham owns the team that Messi, one of the owners of the team that Messi's on. So that's even, draws you in a little bit more.
Yeah, Inter Miami.
And let's not forget that New Jersey, the Giant Stadium, just got the 2026
World Cup final.
World Cup final.
Which is crazy. They outbid, Dallas and LA?
Yeah.
I saw a little thing. Soccer fans were a little bit worried about the grass situation. Yeah, a football pitch and a soccer pitch, completely different scenario. You're there to slide and there's give on a soccer pitch. People are a little worried, but whatever. These are professional players. They're adults. You got to adapt.
They're going to figure it out. And they're going to change the stadium. I don't care. They ripped the grass up, put it in 50 times.
Who knows? How many times do NFL players get injured? That's turf. I get it. But
What do you think the prices of those tickets are going to be?
So I had this interesting conversation with my friend about FIFA. He went and saw 5 games in Qatar, the last World Cup. And Qatar did a great job. Everyone who I know who went can't stop praising the organization, how safe it was. FIFA, they bought their tickets through FIFA when they first came out. So it wasn't scalpers. They were $55, $65 tickets. And they honored it and executed, and they were able to watch 5 games throughout the week. That's pretty cool. I really hope there's no shenanigans over here in the United States when tickets are sold. I don't want to hear about bots buying thousands of tickets a pop or corporations getting preferential pre-sale tickets and all that. It's meant for the people.
But the games are spread out all over the whole country. There's quarterfinals going to be in Dallas, so it's not like it's going to be a little more complicated to get around.
I know. America, you have me at a very side-eye position. I wouldn't say this back in the 80s growing up here, but today, like, you can't tell me someone's not scheming to maximize these tickets. Football tickets, baseball tickets, hockey tickets, basketball tickets, even tennis tickets. Everything is just it's disgusting, right? It's disgusting. You have 2 kids. You want to take your family out, family of 4, right? We have this same story discussion all the time. It's going to run you over $1,000. The moment you realize you're $1,000 short and you're probably sitting next to a belligerent drunk guy spilling and cursing, and it's okay. There's a lesson somewhere. I'm sorry. I don't want to be so pessimistic about it.
I'm with you.
It's become this thing.
No, let's hope. You know what it's like going to the Meadowlands. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's miserable.
Yeah. The TV experience, I have to admit, though, TV production, American sports, fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fantastic. And I always say, if I were to take my family to a game, I could just, that week, buy a new TV.
I say that same thing all the time.
Yeah, it's just opportunity cost. You sit in a nice, calm environment. You can pause if you need to go make some more popcorn or make a sandwich.
You can order in food. You can have a party.
Yeah. You know? This leads back to Super Bowl Sunday coming up in 4 days. Pretty exciting. Who do you think is going to win? My money, Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if people think he's a little injured or whatnot, but he's going to make it.
I didn't hear that he was injured.
Oh, maybe I'm reciting last year's scenario in my head.
Yeah, I don't know. Got to have the game of his life. The big question is whether Taylor Swift is flying back from Japan to watch the game. Who cares?
Really, who cares?
But I'm like, I'm not of the group that says, who cares? She should go away. I don't really care what she does. If she wants to come watch the game, let her come watch the game.
It's neutral to me.
They're like, oh, we're worried about security. What is she? What do you think her security staff is? It's probably second to none to the president of the United States, right? They have advanced teams. They have everything.
I have I could care less. But I'm just excited for the guys that are competing. And Patrick Mahomes, man.
What about Purdy from San Francisco?
Cinderella story?
Imagine that. Last person taken in the draft.
Yeah.
And it was a great story how they drafted him. And the coach Shanahan wanted to draft him as last. But some of the other coaches were like, listen, he's not the talent. Get somebody else or whatever. The owner stepped in and asked the coach, who do you think is the best player on the board right at the moment? Mm-hmm. And he says, without a doubt, it's Purdy.
Good.
And he was right. And people are saying, the argument now is this. People are saying that, oh, the team's so great, they make him look good.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, please. What world do you live in?
Give the kid a break.
This kid is great.
Yeah.
And he's going to be even better. He's just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
But I think Mahomes still is. You got to say Mahomes until he doesn't do it. But so far, he's done everything. Everything he's been asked of, hurt, not hurt, just done amazing jobs.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
the best defense they've ever had. Or he's ever had.
So you got that.
And their coach's offensive mind, he's brilliant. And they have Spags, who was the Giants coach. Those great Giants defenses were his concoction.
You're going to be local? Are you going to go to the lounge to watch?
I'm going somewhere. Yeah. I don't know where.
I think I'm going to go to the lounge, the Doc James Cigar Lounge. We're going to have a nice spread, I think.
They're going to have a spread?
A couple guys are coordinating, and we're going to have a nice spread.
I just took out a whole thing of pork bellies.
Oh.
So I don't think I'm going to smoke them, but I think I'm going to try to cook them in the oven with like I did with the ribs, the homemade sauce.
It comes out better, more control.
And then easier because I can stay in the house and do it. Yeah. I'll put my sauce on them, and then I'll just buy a whole bunch of rolls.
Perfect. All right.
The idea is to get them there hot. That's the thing.
I think they'll probably have some hot burners and stuff, so all good. All right, man. Wow.
So what's your prediction?
I know nothing about football and spreads and stuff, but I feel like if I were a betting man, I'd put money on Mahomes, and I think they win by 10.
Write it down. All right. I bet on Mahomes, too. I think they're going to stun San Francisco and just go at it and just blow them out of the water.
Yeah.
Try to anyway. San Francisco's pretty good. Could go the other way, too. Who knows? But that's where my money is. So, everyone, we appreciate you listening, as always. We do also appreciate that if you like us, subscribe or whatever it is.
Share, send it to a friend.
Send it to a friend.
We love seeing new subscribers, new people, new cities that pop up. I think we hit over, 8 something this week. And
we're over 800 downloads, which is the first time we've gone that high.
Yep.
And also we're 175 cities in almost 20 countries around the world. It's pretty amazing. We're still trying to get somebody in Antarctica, but we haven't been able to do that yet.
I can't wait to take this on the road when we go to restaurants and podcast on site. I always try to be as fair and honest, and I think we're in our second season of podcasting.
Episode 3, right?
Episode 3. It's been so much fun, and I think we're really getting into our stride and finding our voice with all this. I can't wait to do a quick restaurant critique and just talk about food that we were going to have for the first time.
We're getting through the winter. Once we're through the winter, George is starting a new position, and once
more information about that when we really launch. But I can't wait to share it with everyone.
When we weather warms up, it's a little lighter at night. We'll be going out a little more and have more reports for you. But we're going to be on that. I thank you all for listening. Anything else, George?
No, thank you, and we will be back very soon.
Thanks so much. Have a good week. Go Kansas City.